If you're an 8 or 9 figure telehealth brand, this video is for you, right? This is the level of organic search traffic and revenue that we want to be getting up to. This is one of our clients. This is inside of our custom triple whale dashboard where we basically track everything that is organic search and AI search. And you've probably heard of companies like Hims or Row.co or even Keeps. And in this video, I'm basically going to break down each of these websites and show you exactly why they're successful, how they're successful, and then how you can do the exact same thing. And really, that is what we work on as an agency, as an SEO partner. My name is Thomas Phillips. I'm the co-founder at DTC SEO Agency. We've been doing SEO for almost 20 years at this point, exited 17 different brands that we've built internally, all from SEO. So let's deep dive into it. Okay, so we're loading up inside of Ahrefs here. This is one of the best SEO tools that money can buy right now. And what is the main thing that all of these websites have together? Okay, there's a hell of a lot of data on here, but we're going to run through each part. One of the main things that we like to look at is the DR. That is the domain rating. It's basically how powerful a website is. That is 0 to 100. When you're a brand new website, obviously you start off at 0. When you are a brand new website, it takes a long time to get to the point of where Google sees you as an authority, right? And we can see exactly this. If I scroll back the last 5 years on here, we can basically see that they were at next to no traffic all the way down here, and then all of a sudden starting to spike up. This is not a great example because they did actually do a complete redirect on this website from a different domain name, but let me show you this one. This would be a little bit better. So this is Row.co. As you can see on here, you know, for a period of time, they were trundling along, not a whole lot of traffic, and then all of a sudden it's starting to spike up. This is the inflection point where Google basically sees your website as an authority. Okay, see this as compounding of interest, right? Every single month we want to be adding new, high quality, informative, expert content that is not AI written. We'll get into this in a minute. And on top of that, we also want to be layering in big PR links, essentially being featured in big publications and getting the link back from that publication to your website. That is the core thing that traditional PR agencies miss. That is a core piece of exactly what we work on with our PR team in-house. On top of that, it's also getting high quality backlinks from related websites that are independently owned, not PBNs, private blog networks. If you go after PBNs, or if you're buying links and you have no idea what the hell you're buying, you could be getting a PBN. Basically, Google has a whole team that goes after those types of websites. As soon as they find them, they de-index the whole thing, and your website can just drop like a stone. So we absolutely do not want that. That's why we have so many layers in place in-house when we're going after those links. Anyway, back to the point on here. So you can basically see over time, you know, it's trundling along, it's kind of bumbling along at the bottom, and then all of a sudden it then starts to take off. Okay, that is the orange line on here. The blue line on here is the number of referring domains. Referring domains means the number of unique websites that are linking to your site. We want as many of them as possible, with a caveat. They have to be high quality and related, meaning that the piece of content that is linking to your website needs to be related. If the website is also entirely related on the subject, even better. Okay, so we can basically see on here, again with these guys, Row.co, the DR, the domain rating is very, very, if we look at Keeps.com, again, a DR of 81, extremely high. Now, the good news is we don't need to get a website to anywhere near that level of power in order to get a significant amount of organic search traffic. Reason being is that we focus on commercial and transactional intent keywords as like 80% of our overall strategy. We're extremely careful in terms of allocating budget and resources across the website. We want the highest ROI with the lowest spend and the lowest budget possible. That is the aim of the game. Okay, so let's deep dive in on this. Why do these sites have such a high DR? Let's have a look. So if we jump into referring domains on here and we just start to scroll through, this basically gives us an insight into all of the websites that are linking back to hims.com. Now, obviously, this is a very extreme example, a massive company, a massive amount of funding. This is not required to this degree, but it's just good to understand why they are at this level of traffic and how they've reached this level of success. Okay, so we can basically see on here, these are a bunch of household names: Forbes, New York Times, HubSpot, BBB. Well, yeah, you can get that for free. Business Insider, Healthline, etc., etc. Let's just have a quick look at the next one on here. So this is row.co. Again, very similar. What have we got? Yahoo.com, Forbes, NY Times, Springer.com. Anyway, etc., etc. Business Insider, Healthline. All of these big websites. So that's really where the authority comes from that point of view. Now, let's have a look at the content. Okay, so looking at the content of hims.com, right, as we scroll down, we can basically see this flag, whatever you want to call it, on the right-hand side. This is basically looking at each piece of content, each page of content, and it's doing a quick analysis at the level of AI content, right? And we can basically see on here low, 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 moderate, slightly low, low, moderate. One of these is high, okay? Low, moderate, low, etc., 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 right? All the way down. This is absolutely acceptable, especially from a moderate point of view like this. If a writer is using something like Grammarly, then it's absolutely going to increase the amount of AI that's being picked up. But the big point here is that they are ranking extremely well, and they have a very low amount of AI content on each page. This is a massive issue that we see newer brands starting to come up with, because they use an AI tool. It basically just spits out tons and tons and tons of content. It's flagged as high AI all the way through. And Google has released an update as of end of March, start of April, where basically they were penalizing websites for using mass AI content. Okay, and we can see that on here, just looking at March core update inside of Google, rolled out across end of March, start of April, basically heavily penalizing websites engaging in scaled content abuse. It targeted sites publishing massive quantities of thin, AI-generated content, lacking original insights, subject matter expertise, or editorial oversight. Okay, this is the key part, this EEAT, right? It's expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Now, let's click in on a couple of these articles and we'll see exactly how they are doing it versus how people are not doing it. Okay, so this is obviously hims.com. I've just clicked into a random blog post on here, and you can immediately see this has been reviewed by this particular person on here. What are they? They're an MD, right? And it's been written by this person. Okay, so this entire article has been reviewed by someone in the medical field, right? Now, from an expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness point of view, this absolutely ticks the box. Okay, let's look at another one real quick. Okay, let's just click on a random one on here. Great. Okay, again, look, reviewed by this guy who's also an MD. Okay, and then we can immediately see that it's been written by this person and reviewed by this person and another MD as well as. Okay, so if a manual Google reviewer comes in and starts checking out these pages, this is going to get a big green check mark, right? If you compare that with websites that are using AI content tools that are just blasting out content willy-nilly, it's publishing a bunch of content on your site that potentially is then also going to get hit from an FTC angle, right? Because you might be making claims that you have no idea you're actually making claims about. Okay, so internally what we do is we source and find these MDs or medical experts that can essentially sign off on the content. Okay, that is absolutely critical in order to rank in Google. This is what we call a your money or your life niche. Okay, it's your life, meaning this is a medical website. Therefore, the content needs to be written and reviewed by a medical expert. Okay, huge aspect of that. So, as I was saying, we source those people who can then consult for your website and essentially have them featured on here and review the content from that point of view. A big check mark. We can then also leverage them inside of PR, which is a fantastic way of getting a lot of those big PR links. As I said before, we are extremely focused on ROI. That is the main thing of what we care about. What is the biggest thing that we could get for the smallest amount of budget, effort, and work? What is the biggest lever that we can pull from that point of view, so that we can make SEO as efficient as possible? Okay, and we can use this as an example. I've literally just typed in, why is minoxidil so effective? I've just gone to the 7th page, clicked on a random website, and we can see on here, it looks like total shit. Okay, we can see Natalie NG author, whoever the hell that is. No idea if that person has any kind of doctorate or degree or anything like that. You know, it's just a bunch of content that looks very, very AI, just like straight output, random pictures, no real formatting of things. You know, it's just kind of slapped together, right? And people question, why am I ranking on page 7 for this keyword, you know, when we should be a lot higher? Okay, well, this is going to be a very prime example versus something like this that's very, very well written. It's structured in a very specific way. As an example, we have completely changed how we've been writing content compared to a year ago, because now we can also have the content being featured inside of AI search, the likes of ChatGPT. We want to get cited as much as possible. We want to get as much traffic and revenue as possible from ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Copilot, etc., etc. As an example, one of the first things you can see on here is the key takeaways. This is one of the first things that immediately gets picked up, especially from Google. This has been around for a couple of years in Google in terms of the key takeaway section, but as well as in AI search. It doesn't have to scroll through, you know, and people are hiding the answer like all the way down here. It's literally like, bam, here's the answer. Great. You're building immediate trust, and then they can then read on and look at the content from there. Okay, and then in terms of backlink building, right? How do we rank up at the top for these big commercial and transactional intent keywords? That is the aim of the game. And basically what we are doing as the next step, if you're interested in this and you're watching the video, the next step would be to book a call with myself. We'll run through your goals, all of your numbers inside of the business. And from there, we'll build out a paid strategy where our team will spend around 5 to 6-ish hours basically building out a dedicated SEO and AI strategy exactly for your brand and your business. We look at exactly which keywords you want to rank for, which products you're going to be introducing, any keyword research around new products that you also want to go after. There is so many things in the telehealth space that you can go after. It's a case of what is the prioritization side of things. It takes a while in order to get, all of the products together, all the quiz funnels together in order to get things set up. So us being able to give you that data in terms of, hey, out of these 10 products, here's the priority list. These are the ones with the highest search volume and the lowest keyword difficulty. Keyword difficulty is this metric on the left-hand side here. Essentially, it's working out how many links are going to be required on average for that particular page. So you can see over time, right, this keyword difficulty has been increasing massively. Okay, and this is a huge part of SEO. If you don't get in now and you don't start now, you are kicking the can down the road, and the competition is only getting more and more and more powerful because of that compounding that happens. So if you wait 6 months, if you wait a year, you have to do so much more work to try and catch up at that point. This is why telehealth right now, from an SEO point of view, is like such a blue ocean. If you can't tell how excited I am about this, then yeah. So look, you can see on here, like the search volume is just increasing like crazy, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, when we're looking at this keyword, topical finasteride, and we scroll all the way down on here, we can basically see this is the SERP overview. SERP meaning search engine results page. This is the top 10 or so listed on Google for this particular keyword. And we can basically see the websites that are ranking. We can see the amount of content. We can also see their SEO title, which is extremely important. We can also see the URL structure, and we can start to work out what types of pages are ranking at the top. Is it an article? Is it a product? Is it a collection or category page? All those things are absolutely critical from this point of view. And for these kind of searches, especially around a medical where it's kind of on the line of being informational and commercial intent, this is why Google splits them up, and there's multiple websites in there. Some people are looking for some information, some people are actually looking to buy. And this kind of keyword here is freaking awesome, because you can see the top two are informational if people want to learn more. Not that anyone is going to read, this government website or the FDA. Like, most people at this point, they want to just scroll down and go buy. Okay, so HIMs are in the absolute perfect spot. The next thing that we look at from here is the DR. So we're calculating based off of what your DR is right now, the domain rating, how powerful your website is compared to the competition. We're calculating what is that gap, okay, and how many links and how much content is going to be required in order to close that gap as quickly as possible. From there, what we're also then looking at is domains. So this is the number of referring domains going directly to this page. What I mean by referring domains is the number of unique websites that are linking directly to this page. Okay, not to be confused with backlinks. We don't look at backlinks at this point. I'll give you an example. If you have a website that's linking to you and your link to your page is inside of their footer, let's say they have 1 million pages on their website, you are then going to get 1 million backlinks, but only one referring domain. Okay, so that's why we don't look at backlinks and we're looking at referring domains, but we will use backlinks and referring domains interchangeably. If you come on a call and we're using that terminology, FYI. Cool. Okay, so you can see on here basically happyhead.com. Pretty big website, ranking very, very well. They only have 17 links going directly to this product page, which is absolutely achievable. And that's what makes it so exciting in this space, right? 17 links is not a massive amount in the grand scheme of things. Like, this can be achieved in the matter of a few months, which is absolutely awesome. So we can basically see these guys have 17, these guys have 14. Obviously, the higher up you go, the more links there are, okay? And the further down you go, the less links there are on average, right? So essentially, this is part of our calculation that we're doing as the next step when we're building out that full paid strategy from that point of view. And yeah, we're going in, we're calculating every single page, how many links we think are going to be required based off of where your website is right now and where it needs to get to. We're extremely analytical when it comes to this point. We want to deep dive in and really work out, like, do we actually need 17 links? So this is another big aspect of it. If I was to click in on this page, okay, and we start to review these links, okay, there's a huge amount of spam on here. So actually, when we look at these websites, we're looking at the domain rating, the DR, we're looking at the website of what it actually is, because websites like this, mill.com, is just not a relevant website whatsoever. We're also looking at the organic search traffic that's coming from these websites, okay? So actually, if you look at this, Men's Health, Rob Report, Grokpedia, I don't know if we can necessarily class that. I'd have to look at that website overall. This one, and potentially this one, and potentially this one as well as. Okay, so they actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They actually have 5 high quality links that are linking directly to this page, which is amazing news for us, because that means we don't need, or we might not need, 17 links going to this page, which costs a lot of cash in order to get 17 links. Every link that we're looking at, we have to acquire, right? You cannot get high quality links for free unless you earn it from big PR websites, okay? So earned media is very different to very specific targeted websites that we want linking to very specific pages. It is much more difficult to get a large PR website linking to directly to a product page, especially finasteride product page, okay? So in order to achieve that, we then need to go off and get those links from those websites that will take cash in order to link directly to those pages. And that is the overall strategy with things. And that's why SEO becomes relatively expensive. But at the same time, you know, if you're spending 20 grand a month and you're making 2 mil a month, who the hell cares at that point? The return is absolutely huge. And the main thing is when you hit that inflection point, as I showed at the start, like when you're at that hockey stick, that is where you're just creaming the profits. Okay. And that is why we only work with brands who are already established. They already have their operations in order. They're already scaling with paid traffic. Giant tick in the box. If you are watching this and you're a brand and you've literally just started 6 months ago and you're just starting to see some progress, please do not book a call with me. It's going to be a waste of your time. Scale your paid traffic first, then come back to us and reinvest a portion of your profits into SEO. Okay, and we'll go from there. Cool. Okay, so that is basically a quick breakdown of things. There's tons more that we're looking at. We're looking also at the technical side of things on the website. We run a full technical audit. We're looking at if there's any development issues that are holding the site back. You know, if there's multiple H1s on the page, if there's 404s, you know, dead pages that used to be there that haven't been cleaned up. All of that we look at and we handle as an SEO partner. We are a full service. We do absolutely everything. Unless you have your own dev team and you want them to work on it and we can give them SOPs, instructions, and videos about how to fix very specific things on your website, we handle absolutely everything. We have the whole content team. We have the whole technical team. We have the whole strategy. We have the link building team. We have the PR team. We have every single thing we need for success. So if this is interesting to you, go ahead and book a call below. And I look forward to talking to you on the call. Thank you very much.